So Dr. Rachi Joshi has an experience of 20 years in various development organizations. She is an alumnus of University of Mumbai and Tata Institute of Social Sciences and has a doctoral degree from University of Pune. She is presently Chief Thematic Program Executive in BIOF Research Development Foundation and has experience of planning and implementing diverse development interventions for disadvantaged sections in rural India, such as tribal women, small and marginal farmers, etc. She also specialized in poverty and underdevelopment issues, planning development research and tribal livelihoods, and NRLM-based interventions in niche areas, liaising with the funding agencies and domain experts.
So what I will be doing is I will not go into why and how of nutrition gardens, but based on BIOF's pan-India location experience of implementing this intervention, I will be drawing some learnings and insights, and then I will be sharing nutrition garden as an initiative in a larger context. So the basically it is a part and parcel of overall holistic development programs, the livelihood programs and health and nutrition related programs that BIOF has been implementing in pan-India locations. So importantly, what I will be talking about 2-3 programs, and first such initiative that we are having with Tata Cornell initiative is program called Tarina. The Tarina program is a unique program which is a technical assistance and research for Indian nutrition and agriculture. So here I would like to draw your attention to food system approach. So I think rather than talking about standalone intervention of home garden or nutrition kitchen garden, I think we need to look at home garden and kitchen garden in a larger food system approach. And I think that is the one learning that has been generated through our Tarina initiative and association. So it is the vision of that Tarina program was more nutrition sensitive food system. So they are not talking about only access to minerals and micronutrients, but they are talking about overall food system. Then the goal was improved availability, affordability, access to food diversity and quality. So that's the kind of vision I think we should all have when we are talking about nutrition garden also. And from this kind of food system approach, how do we perform and how are we able to address the needs? So that is the kind of thing. So here we are talking about the nutrition sensitive agriculture, and within that also we are talking about improved affordability, improved access and improved diversity and quality of food resources. Under Tarina, we have introduced this as a very important component, and the main approach of that component was a focus. Yeah, please go to next. So main important aspect of that component was addressing the seasonal food deficit. So there is a gap analysis, and one of the gap identified in overall food system was seasonal food deficit. So I think the nutrition intervention, nutrition garden intervention needs to be seen from that angle. It helps addressing the seasonal food deficit and also the seasonal micronutrient gap, because in monsoon there are a lot of things which are available. Similarly, from staples there are many things that are available, but this micronutrient gap and seasonal food deficit gap, that was requiring some intervention. And here it is especially then women control over dietary diversity. So the nutrition garden is also seen from that angle, how it can involve the nutrition, the gender sensitive approaches and overall women's control over the dietary diversity, which is very, very logical when we come to think of it. And next thing is homestead production for improving year-round availability of nutritious food on site rather than enhancing the market supply. So see, that is the one extreme solution of ensuring that enough is available in market. But are we all aiming at that? So these are some of the points to ponder that I want to throw upon through this presentation. So here what we are talking about is year-round availability. So that is also a very, very important, because we all know when we are working in the field, there are certain months when the food availability is critical. We have introduced this and we call it as a perennial nutrition garden, because most of the nutrition garden end up having only seasonal nutrition garden for various reasons. So the food system security scenario, this is one example because I will be talking about the success stories. So one of the success stories we have seen during the COVID was the typical vulnerability of our food system was like it could really all of us realize the vulnerability of existing food system. There was total dependence on mandis, but because of lockdown and movement restrictions, the food access was limited. Biggest challenge was to ensure the food delivery and food diversity because PDS was activated by government, but PDS could give only staples. And there was lack of continuous supply. Also, a lot of malpractices were adopted by the traders, and so the affordability, accessibility, and overall exploitation was there. And finally, it boiled down to affecting the overall food security and diet diversity. So during this, can we go to next, please? So during this COVID, we could realize like the interventions that we had introduced. So there are multiple benefits that it could provide. So the kitchen gardens that we had introduced in Tarina, which is in Munger district of Bihar, there are close to 4,000 families at the level where we have introduced this intervention, and there are 4 to 5 different types of fresh vegetables even during this period, which was more or less summer because March, April was summer. But since we are focusing on perennial nutrition garden, there were quite a few types of vegetables which were available. So I want to draw your attention that it not only fulfilled the vegetable needs of particular family, but the excess production they could sell in the village itself because the village mobility was not that restricted during COVID. So they could sell in daily up to 100 rupees they could earn. And not only that, but for their own consumption also, lot of vegetable was available despite of lockdown. So this has also given them sense of pride. Because they were giving to affluent families, and I think that is pride is very important because most of the time this nutrition garden we think the resource poor should have it, but even they can have this dignified livelihood. So that is a very important contribution from that point of view. Next, please. So, another important. So this is what we have realized. The COVID pose like situation or climate change, which are posing new threats, and this also makes us think about the resilience building. So when we are talking about resilience building, even PM Modi ji spoke about Atmanirbhar Bharat. So then these are the interventions which are proving to be very useful from that point of view in terms of resilience building and in terms of self-sufficiency. This is one important example. Another one I wanted to give in Maharashtra, long back, what we had done was, this was a project started with the help of Tata Trust, and where nutrition garden was a typical intervention. But when we were working with tribals, we realized like there is lot of dependence, and we are getting lot of wild vegetables, and there are diverse wild vegetables which are still available in forest. But over the years, the forest base is depleting. Therefore, the degradation of natural resources, even these vegetables and the knowledge associated with these vegetables or food resources is kind of eroding. So what we focused was, we tried innovative propagation of some of these wild vegetables. You know, for example, Bahunia purpurea, I think it is available across central India now, and it is consumed by tribals. The tender leaves are consumed, and it is a small tree which has a tender leaves throughout the year. So I think that is very important. But all these year, tribals were getting it from forest. So we have introduced that at the level of villages and in kitchen garden. So I think that has kind of helped two ways. One is domestication of wild species, and second one is also availability of tender green leaves throughout the year for the tribal families. And biotic interference has been reduced. So I think there are multiple benefits while focusing on nutrition garden, and we also popularizing the traditional dishes, because very important, certain wild vegetables or the vegetables that are native or like traditional, the recipes are not known, then it is likely the next generation will forget about it. So how to process it also, there are ways to process it, otherwise there is a itching in the when you consume. So those type of things also we need to document and respect, and those custodians of knowledge we need to reward. Next, please. So this is many speakers have already spoke about this. Even we have tried, like apart from nutrition kitchen garden, can we have something like mushroom cultivation, which can be at an individual family level, and that's again a very rich source of minerals, and not only minerals from nutrition point of view, but from income generation point of view also, that is proving very useful. Why I'm taking this slide here is because these gummy bags, which are mostly the agri waste is used after the one cycle of mushroom, the same bags you can use for vertical gardening in nutrition kitchen garden. So that is the kind of multi-purpose benefits that it has, and so it can be easily integrated into our nutrition kitchen garden. And there are schemes supported by Atma now, so they are also encouraging this type of integration and this type of income generation activities which are nutrition sensitive. Next, please. Yeah, so there are quite a few slides on, which is like this is one effort that is being done in Maharashtra by my colleague who is Sanjay Patil. So we all know the eroding base of our dietary diversity now, and this once upon a time we had a very rich source, but that is getting eroded, and the knowledge is also getting eroded. So we need to work towards revival also. Next, please. So there are a lot of plant genetic resources. Next, please. So I will not go into details. Next, please. So what we are focusing is in different tribal pockets and agroclimatic zones of India. What we are doing is we have identified this pocket and we are trying to list the crop cultivars and diversity. And we are also trying to revive those kind of traditional food resources that are there and integrating those into nutrition kitchen garden. So I think if we are talking about nutrition kitchen garden, the important point is seeds. So through this program, we are focusing on the entire indigenous seed varieties and cultivars, which are easily available to farmers, and that he can use year after year for his nutritional kitchen garden. Somebody who I heard mentioning about during this COVID and lockdown, they are facing problem for nutrition kitchen garden, whereas our communities are not facing because we have this source called indigenous seeds available in villages, and a very good system has been set to give and distribute and exchange those indigenous seeds now. Next, please. Next, please. What I wanted to talk about next, please. So here, what I am trying to highlight is, see, it is not something from outside that we are talking about nutrition kitchen garden. We can go to next slide. So what I'm trying to say is we have to respect the THAS. THAS is Tribal Heritage Agriculture System. So kitchen gardening was a tribal heritage agriculture system, and I think now the time has come to understand that system, respect that system, and revive that system. So that is the one kind of approach that we are taking in the entire thing. You all know about Rahi Bai, who is called a seed mother, and she is from Akole block of Ahmednagar in Maharashtra, and she is the one, because she realized the importance of indigenous seeds. She has herself conserved many types of seeds, and now she is the BBC most influential woman, 50 most influential women. She is one of them. So that is the kind of simple illiterate tribal woman can focus and realize the importance of indigenous seeds. So, and then we all know now, take for example this eggplant. We all know, so Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra, there is so much of diversity in terms of color, size, and in terms of taste and season in eggplant itself. So, so I think it has to go hand in hand with our nutrition kitchen garden program. It cannot be in isolation. Next, please. So this is what we have done, and it is not. Next, please. So this is, she's a Rahi Bai. You can see her, the one which is first picture, and this is the kind of example where we have to also think about the indigenous seed banks at the level of community. So community level seed bank also has to be part and parcel of overall nutrition kitchen garden intervention that we are talking about, and there are ways of storing these seeds also and testing their viability. So a lot of that traditional knowledge also needs to be documented, and there has to be system of exchange also, and there can be various participatory events to promote these kind of learnings. Next, please. So I have last few slides. Next, please. Yeah, so I was talking about having food recipe contest also. So there are different dishes, and there are now festivals, wild vegetable festivals that are organized regularly, and these nutrition gardens have been established, and people are really taking lot of pride in sharing their knowledge and their dishes. So that's the thing. But it is not only the pride, but they are fetching lot of income also. Next, please. So they are fetching lot of income also. So we have started a local seed kit business, and let me tell you, the seed keepers group is now earning close to lakhs of rupees only by selling these seed kits. So 10 different vegetable and all native, all conventional seeds are being sold, and the people in urban areas are like jumping on it, and regularly there are inquiries for these native seed packets that are being sold by these ladies. Next, please. So this is my last slide. So I just want to end that again. I want to highlight that we have to look at larger food system level change, and nutrition kitchen garden from in the larger context of food system. The tribal heritage agriculture system needs to be highlighted. Same thing with gender sensitivity and role of women in this nutrition kitchen garden. And I think there is now increasingly there is a kind of trend of responsible consumerism. Even in urban areas, I stay in Pune. Even in Pune, there are many people who wants to help the farmers, and they want to have safe and organic food. So I think there is externalities of responsible consumerism, responsible production also. And from all that point of view also, this nutrition kitchen garden, I think once again, we need to look at nutrition kitchen garden not only from micronutrient supply, but also in a larger context of livelihoods, nutrition security, dietary diversity, and resilience building. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rajshri, for this brilliant presentation and for providing us a brief highlight on BIF initiatives, success stories related to household food security via Nutria Garden.